Welcome back, guys, to New Nostalgia. Before we start the video talking about my favorite 35mm film camera of all time, the Contax G2, stick around right until the end of the video. I have a huge announcement. We're doing a humongous giveaway, giving out the Olympus Mewtwo, the Olympus XA, and photo shoots as well. So you want to stick around to the end of the video to know how you can win. So guys, enjoy the video. Okay guys, so I've been waiting for a very long time to make this video. Today I'll be talking about my favorite 35mm film camera of all time. But before we get into that, smash the like button and guys, subscribe to the channel. From the moment I saw Sam Dameshek, Gunnerstahl, and even goddamn Frank Ocean having this camera around their necks, and seeing the pictures that they've produced and other great photographers have produced with this camera, I knew from the second I saw them pictures, I had to cop this camera. I mean, honestly, besides the Mamiya RZ67, the greatest pictures I've ever seen in my life have come through the lens of that camera. And up to today, some of my best work have come from this 35mm film camera. So guys, welcome back to Nostalgia. And today I'm reviewing my favorite 35mm film camera of all time, the Contax G2. So first of all, a bit of history. The Contax G1 was first introduced in 1994 and is by all means an incredible film camera. However, a lot of people know this, it has a lot of problems with the focusing and has a slower shutter speed limit. And I think a few lenses that you can mount on your G2 cannot be mounted on your G1. But guys, don't let that deter you from getting the G1. They're at wonderful prices. The price range is really low and it's still a really wonderful camera. You can produce incredible images. But I have to talk about the GOAT, the G2, that was first introduced in 1996. The difference is it has a faster shutter speed limit, so 1/6000th of a second, better focusing capabilities, and more lenses to choose from. So the G system cameras were meant to, as of what I've read, compete with the Leicas. But I don't think that's a fair comparison because, first of all, people that have Leicas like to flex too much. And Leicas, I feel like, are more slow, manual cameras that have incredible quality lens, take incredible pictures. But they're not like the G system where it's like fast shutter, you can just blast out pictures, have fun with it, and kind of almost use it like a point and shoot, you know? So I think like the Leicas are more meticulous cameras, while the G series are also meticulous, but are almost more comparable to like digital cameras in how they function, their specs. So you know, you can have quick shutter speeds, have multiple rounds of frames going. I wouldn't compare them too much like Leicas, but quality wise, I can see why that's a comparison and something that people would say about the two camera systems. But like I said, these cameras are for different types of photographers, and I think that the G series fits more for me than the Leica necessarily. So like I said, the Contax G series of cameras are, you know, spontaneous, fast. I mean, when I went from my Yashica T4 to the Contax G2, bruh, I was blown away. The speed, man, it was crazy. Like the Yashica T4, I just felt like it was, you know, it's a point and shoot, it's fast, but like it's next level, the speed of this camera. It's just crazy. So let's get into the specs. I told you already, I was blown away by the speed of the camera, but that shouldn't surprise you because this camera can switch through frames like crazy. I'm talking about 4 frames per second. Another thing, most point and shoots loading is pretty easy because the camera does for you. And for the Contax G2, same thing, loading and rewinding the camera super fast. Besides that, the camera is beautiful. Like the Contax C2 that I like to talk about a lot. Beautiful built camera. Quality was in mind when they made these cameras. Sleek look, ergonomically incredible. What was a little bit scary when I got into the camera is the number of buttons on it. So there's a lot of buttons. So you have button for single frame, continuous, single autofocus, continuous autofocus, manual focus. I like to stay in single focus when I shoot with this camera. You also have it for shutter speeds, sync modes, flash mode. More and more I work in the studio, more and more I manually choose my shutter speeds. So when I'm outside, out and about, I rely more on light meter that'll choose the shutter speed, but in studio I like to do it on my own. Besides that, you can choose your ISO, which is really cool. So if you want to underexpose, overexpose, that's really fun. Also, besides that, what is cool is that when you want to focus with the camera, most of the time you focus with the shutter, so you will half press, and you can do that, but there's another smaller button, you can click on it and it will focus and you can hit the shutter, so I think it's more precise so you don't accidentally like just over click. Now let's get into the lenses that I have. So I have the 45mm lens and the 28. The 45mm lens is an f2 lens, so really fast lens, amazing lens guys. If you want to get this camera, go for the 45mm lens. I've used it outside, incredible lens. It's so versatile. Just be able to go right down to f2, super versatile. I kind of don't all the time go f2, but when you need it in the dark, super dope. In the studio, I've run into a little bit of problems with the 45mm lens, and that is not a fault of the lens, more the way my studio is built. It's super small, so I have to like back up a lot. I want to fit everything when I'm composing, so that's maybe one problem I have with it, but I mean, great lens. It's more my studio than anything else. Now, I have the 28mm lens. I bought it just because I wanted to be able to not have to back up so much when I'm taking pictures in the studio. And great lens, f2.8, but I've run into some problems. When I sync it up, you know, when I use because I use strobe lights when I take pictures with my Contax G2, and when I use this lens with it, I get a lot of vignetting. And it's like a weird circle vignette, and it's really weird. And sometimes I don't, and I don't know why. I feel like maybe because of my sync speed, and I've changed it. I used to sync my camera at 1/200th of a second because I thought, and that's what I read was the fastest speed, but it actually is 1/180th of a second. So I brought it down to 1/125th because when I was using my 45mm lens, I would get this black bar, which was kind of subtle, but like I didn't want that. I could crop it out, it was an easy fix, but still it was a little annoying. So now I go 1/125th of a second. Recently I've started doing that. Now I don't know if with my 28mm lens, because I've not used it for a little while, if it's gonna make a difference in the vignetting. But yeah, I get vignetting with the 28mm lens, but I don't wanna get into that too much because I wanna have a fair review because I have not used it outside yet. So once I have the chance to use it outdoors, I'll be able to give a proper review for the 28mm lens. But for 45, I use it in studio, outside. Incredible lens, recommended 100,000 times. Y'all gotta get it. So I have so many amazing things to say about this camera. I'm telling you, it's my favorite 35mm film camera of all time. And so many incredible film photographers have used this camera to create their work. A lot of YouTubers that are into film photography have this camera and they produce amazing images. Like, I'm not lying to y'all. This camera is worth the hype. Another reason why I really wanted a rangefinder camera was because I wanted to be able to put filters on my camera. So because you can interchange the lenses, which you can do on a point and shoot, it gives you a chance to use, you know, like a pro mist or a star filter, and it just makes you have this possibility to be way more creative than when a point and shoot. Incredible, incredible camera. That being said, there are some negative points about this camera. First thing is it's a rangefinder. Unlike the Mamiya RZ67, unlike SLRs, what you see is not necessarily what you're gonna get. So with SLRs, because it's a mirror, you could see through the lens. Rangefinders, it's on the side. Now what's cool with this camera is that when you focus, the rangefinder will like kind of zoom in too, which is an added bonus to the camera. Some cameras, when you know, focus on something, there's no adjustment. The rangefinder and the Contax G2 will adjust, which is super dope. But as I said, what you see is not necessarily what you're gonna get because there's a slight difference between where the rangefinder is and where the lens is. You might get something in your image that you're not necessarily supposed to get, you know? Like, I don't know, a tree that's just gonna kind of appear in your image because of the rangefinder. I guess more and more you have it, more and more you learn how to compose, you can kind of adjust for that. So I don't think it's a huge problem. However, another problem is the price. Oh Lord, it is an expensive camera, man. It is super expensive, but I mean, it's hyped and it's worth the hype. I think it's the greatest 35mm film camera ever made. So I can understand the pricing, but yeah, it is an expensive camera. For me, buying this camera, I had to go piece by piece. So get a flash, get this, get that. And that's how I lowered costs, but I couldn't use the camera for a long time because I had the body, I had a flash, but I never had the lens. Talking about the flash, this camera's flash, super small flash, really powerful, really strong. It's a little bit annoying that you have to buy an external flash, but great flash, honestly. I don't really have much to say about the flash. It is what it is. It's a pretty good flash. It's not as annoying as the final thing I have to say, which might be the biggest turnoff about this camera. Besides the point that people say that they break easily, knock on wood, but I don't really think, if you take care of the camera, I think it should be fine. But no, that's not my point. My point is that the focus. People said that the G1 had focusing problems, and I've heard a little bit that the G2 has it too, but man, the focusing system is kind of trash. And first of all, when I started using the camera, focusing wise, I never really had a problem. More and more I use the camera, more and more I would be nailing focus. But recently, my camera has a hard time focusing. It has a hard time finding the subject. It has a hard time just nailing it. And it takes a lot of time. You have to really, you know, half press or click on that other button you can use to focus multiple times before it focuses. And because I'm in the studio and I have time, it's not a problem. But if I'm at a concert, if I'm out and about, if I'm trying to catch candid moments, it's not gonna cut it. Thank God I have a Contax G2 for those type of things, but man, it won't cut it. The focusing is kind of really bad on this camera. It's annoying, and I've tried manual focusing just because I got annoyed. Don't ever do that. Manual focus on this camera is trash, but most film cameras that have autofocus and have manual focus are trash, so I can't really hold it against it. Against the Contax G2. But yeah, it's the manual focus, man. It's total garbage, man. And maybe my camera, maybe they're right, maybe it's kind of broken, but I mean, it takes a long time before I nail the focus on this camera. So that's my biggest gripe with the camera. That's it. That's the only negative thing. Besides that, this is the greatest camera I've ever had. You see the sample pictures. I can even show you pictures from other incredible photographers. Like, this is like the cream of the crop of 35mm film cameras. But guys, that's the review. That's what I think is the greatest 35mm film camera ever. Thank you for watching. Shout out to CM Productions for killing another video. Yo, thank you so much for sticking around till the end of the video, guys. So we're doing a giveaway. We're giving away the Olympus Mu2, one of our favorite 35mm point and shoot film cameras of all time. We've used it so much. So many incredible film photographers have used this camera to create wonderful images. I believe it's the best budget point and shoot, premium point and shoot film camera you could ever own. And we're also giving away an Olympus XA, a wonderful film camera, combining these with photo shoots and a photo shoot. So 3 prizes, 3 possible winners. Head on to our Instagram, Newnostalgiafilm. There's gonna be a post related to the giveaway. Look at the rules, guys, to be able to participate in the giveaway. I'm giving y'all a hint right now. One of them is to follow us. So guys, make sure to follow us, like this video. If you want more giveaways, encourage us, comment on our video, and suggest what do you want for the next giveaway. And guys, check us out on Visco, check us out on, of course, Instagram, TikTok, and guys, as usual, keep it nostalgic.